In public, as I'm sure you've heard, Peter Sellers was always happier hiding behind one of the characters he'd created. When interviewed, he usually retreated into his blue bottle or his Clouseau, one of those instant and exact voices. But on this day, relaxed and content, he was just being Peter.
I happen to be one of those sort of people that, well, was born and will die in England, because I've got sort of London in me. I was born in Yorkshire, but I've been living in London all my life. And there's something, although I can't stay there all the time, there's something about the place that I can't get away from. You know, I don't want to get away from. So I could never actually live here. I could work here very easily and do.
Yes.
And, you know, in the film game or in the theatre to some extent, you're a bit of a gypsy, you know, and you travel from place to place, which is a nice thing. Never gets stale.
The place is beautiful.
Yes. And they even used to have Candice Bergen in here, but she's gone now.
Nothing stays the same.
Yeah.
Now, you could write
make
your
old men happy these days.
You could write your own ticket. In fact, you do write your own ticket, so you can live wherever you want to in the world. The fact that you're here for, what, a year? 2 years?
No, I'm not. I'm going back to Europe. I'm going to have a holiday next, a much-needed holiday. And I'm going back to Europe, and I'll probably stay in Europe till I do another movie, which will be in Paris, about September, October, if the script works out. If not, I won't do it, you know. In other words, it's always got to be that way, because I think one has to safeguard oneself now, especially at my time of life, against making too many errors, you know. There's always a necessity to work, you know what I mean? You can't sit on your ass for too long, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got to keep going.
Yes. Well, why have you got to keep going? I know how you feel, but why?
It's that drive, you know. I could never retire. I don't know any actor that could successfully retire.
If you sit on top of a mountain in Gestalt, looking at all those cows, I suppose you'd get bonkers, wouldn't you?
Well, if you sat there for too long.
Yes. Yes.
But you see, I don't, you know. I do overland skiing. I don't do downhill skiing. I do a thing called Langlauf, which is nice. And lovely people, sweet, kind. It gets a bit hectic in the season there. You get a lot of Arabs and a lot of chaps from Eaton Square. Yeah. And all of that going on. But then that's finished and away they go. There's an atmosphere here I don't like. Rubs me up the wrong way. I'd sooner, for example, be at home and have somebody say to me, "I saw your last film, mate, thought it was a load of shit," which I've had on several occasions, so excuse me. Or, I mean, I'd sooner put up with that than I would the sort of thing that happens here.
And what happens here?
Oh, I mean, you know, they're very outgoing. They like to come up to you and, you know, they'll say, oh, this, that, and the other. I'm sort of very popular out here, fortunately. But I remember very well, you know, going through a very bad patch at one time in my life, and I came living in this town for a bit, and several well-known people were crossing from one side of the road to the other in order not to bump into me. That's terrible, isn't it?
Yes.
So you really know when the skids are under you, you know.
Yes, they love a winner, of course. If you're a loser, you go to the lions fairly quickly here, don't you?
Like that. 2 films, don't do any good, out, elbow.
Yes.
Well, I find a lot of Americans complain about the British being. They say, you know, well, the first thing, you know, is the cab drivers. Now, I can tell you one thing, Alan. I get more free rides in London. Boy, Pete, you know, very nice. Hello, scientists will, you know.
Yeah.
And get in the cab, and so many times they have never taken any money from me. Now, obviously a tourist, maybe they think, hello, you know. I'd like to take a look at the Tower of London. After that, we want the Leicester Square. And, you know what I mean? So, and then maybe at the end of it, the fellow turns around and said, what's that then? And no fucking tip there. Oh, dear. Maybe that's how it all started. God knows. I don't know. I know one thing, that it's fine to work here. Spike and I, when we were doing the Goon Show, we used to call them Herns. Hern. Because if you can't hear what they're saying, if you can't, it's like a rhubarb sound. They say, Hern, oh, Hern, Hern. What do you think, Sal? Hern. A lot of the Goon Shows had the Herns in it. Hern, sir, Hern. Hern, Lieutenant, Hern. So...
That goonery is a joy of lost youth for you.
Oh, yeah, it's the best, happiest days of my life.
It seems that the richer people get here, the more they're wondering what they're rich for.
Well, there's all these rock producers here who want, I mean, more Rolls Royces, as you know, in this town.
Yeah.
There's very young, rich millionaires. Well, of course, millionaires are raised worth a million. Hello, Alan, my good man.
And a few poor millionaires as well.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yes, and yes. They just got the Rolls Royce and that's it. I tell you the good things. Let me briefly tell you good things. You can live luxuriously here. You can have swimming pools are commonplace, as you know. Every place has a swimming pool. There is every kind of restaurant. Apart from the Indian one, there is not one good Indian restaurant here. But there's every other kind. And you can do or get anything you want. But I suppose it's because there's a sort of churning unrest for me, personally, that I find that it's great to come here. Very energizing, very energetic, charging, to do some work here. Then I like to be off.
Yes. The best days are getting here and getting away. Yes. So what is it then that gets up your nose about working here?
It's difficult to answer that now. I don't know. They say the British are rude, I suppose. I've heard that said many times. People say British are rude people. And I guess they are a bit snotty when you get in the house. They say, yes, what? You know, not like the old days. No. I mean, Lynn's always saying, some girl said, no, don't keep that anymore, dear, no. All of that. But here, you get that, I don't know, as though they've missed being a Marine just by that. I think as long as you don't take the bullshit, and as long as you don't think of yourself seriously, if you think that, you know, it's going good, money's coming in, the parts are coming in, thank you very much, goodbye, you know, that's fine. But if you ever get it the other way round, if you ever think to yourself, hey, man, I'm there, this is it, you know, forget it, get out, you know, it's all over.
Now, you've taken on Hollywood over the cutting of The Prisoner of Zenda, so you don't give them an easy ride.
Well, no, I'm known to be sort of difficult. I had praise from the being there people, Lorimar, who said recently, just the other day, in a restaurant to my agent and his wife, if Peter Sellers, I had Peter Sellers as being, it was difficult, but if Peter Sellers is difficult, then that's the only sort of people I want to work with. Because I always arrive on time, I know my lines.
You don't fall over the furniture.
I don't fall over the furniture, and I'm a professional. But I can't stand loony. I can't stand Burks, you see. This is the trouble. This being the mecca of you know, the film industry. But if you're a loser, they really don't want to know you. Yeah. And if you're a winner, you can't get a moment's peace.
Yes. Yes. So where are you today?
Well, I'm doing...
No peace.
No peace, yes. That's originally where I got Inspector Clouseau from. from a conversation I heard between a concierge in a hotel in Paris and an American tourist. And this concierge, believe me, he was very sharp and used to tourists. A very patient, nice sort of guy. But you could tell there was a twinkle in the eye. You know, this tourist was saying, we'd like to take in the Lido show, and right after that, we don't want to eat there. Like to go and eat somewhere good. And then we want to go on to the Crazy Horse. And we'll need a limo for that, because there'll be around 6 of us. And the concierge said, yes, I understand. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I always remember this. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to book you into the Lido, 6 places in the best table, right? I'm going to book you into the Tour d'Argent after, a nice table overlooking the river, everything, the best view. And after that, I'm going to book you into the Crazy Horse, nice table, you see all the girls, and there will be a limousine waiting for you. And this guy said, hey, that's really good of you. Now, he'd only repeated what his man had asked him to do, and he gave him a bloody 500 franc tip. Yeah, so you see, I did what I'm going to do. And I thought to myself, that's old Clouseau, really. He really listens to people and thinks, That's why there has to be one up on everybody. Somebody says, for example, this particular character, there's a phone call for you, Inspector. He said, yes, that would be for me. You see, because he doesn't want the other phone.
Nobody seems to have any friends here.
No, you see, the British tend to keep together because, you know, they have these parties like down the Romney, down the road, and all of that. You see, they all sort of get together and talk about Harrods and all things like that, you know. And that's about it, really, unless you want to get caught up with the Hollywood set and get mixed up with those parties, but forget it, you know. Not for me. Very private person. Very private. A lot of people think I'm a right twit because I'm very quiet, but I can't take it, you know. I work so hard when I work that I like to be very quiet and just think and meditate and wander around taking photographs, you know.
There is an argument for saying that wherever you live in the world, if you live in Gstaad or in Port Grimaud or London or here, that you only have about 5 or 10 friends anyway, and you'll surround yourself with 5 or 10 chosen people wherever you are. So you've got your 5 or 10 friends here. You've also got the best that the world can provide in everything, in food and cars and wine and facilities.
I don't have any friends here. Real friends. I don't have any people I've really close. I've only got 2 really good friends, or no, 3 at the most in my life. And they're all in London.
The private Peter Sellers being himself. The public Peter Sellers was being everybody.